ahead, Todd. This is Vicki Javickas with the Greater Gainesville Chamber, and we are very happy to have Tom Wells here today. Tom is running for the U.S. Representative seat, District 3. Welcome, Tom. Good to see you again.
Well, it's a pleasure to see you again as well. Absolutely. So
you can jump right in and give us a little opening statement.
Well, it's not going to be all that little. I am Tom Wells. I started out as a kid, and some reason they let me into Caltech, and I studied physics and got a PhD in theoretical physics and worked at Georgia Tech on all the stealth kind of stuff, the basic science for that, which we've been losing wars to this year because we haven't done anything in 40 years. The stuff I worked on in the 80s is still the modern, newest, most powerful stuff, except that Iran and China are way ahead of us. And what happened there is very subtle, that the Supreme Court got controlled by Lewis Powell. He wrote a nice note to the national, what's your group? Gainesville Chamber, yes, to the National Business Chamber, and described how he could make the world a whole lot better place for the super rich. And he's done that exceedingly well, but we stopped producing anything. And that has to do with a decision that he made where he was a lead author, which allowed instead of 6% interest, allowed 20, 25, 30, 35% interest. And since competing businesses can seldom make more than 6%, they all stopped making anything and started having business cards, credit cards, and taking money without doing any work. We have to reverse this because we live on a planet which is going to die, and we've neglected that planet for 50 years while we make war on people, which makes no sense at all, because Martin Luther King assigned us one job: live together as brothers, work together as brothers. And we've done exactly the opposite. And it took me 6 years, thousands of hours each year, to figure out that, oh yeah, last 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, Donald Trump was in state attorney general's courtrooms, and he got convicted of a lot of stuff because no one is above the law. Well, that applies to Supreme Court justices as well. And they just allowed ICE to put people in jail and grab them off the street if they look Spanish, if they speak Spanish. And people are dying. In our country, more people are dying from our government than our government can kill in other countries. I mean, they deserve to be put under supervision.
Okay, let's jump in, and so you can tie some of these to the questions, so our viewers can get a little bit of context for each of these. So I think you've touched on the why are you running for office, but if there's anything else that's my first question. Why are you running for office?
Well, I'm old, but I'm not stupid yet. I forget faces and names, but I remember exactly everything about what needs to be done. And that's what I think a candidate should be doing. I have seen so many candidates who say, we want Medicare for all, and we'll tax the rich to get it. Well, guys, Medicare for all is half the cost of what we're already spending. And we can't get it because the corporations that are killing us in wealth care instead of health care, they don't really care about the curing rate. Two of my very good friends in Seattle died this year, killed by United Health, by giving them the wrong medications and stuff. We've got to fix that, but we can't fix it while the corporations own both parties. The Democrats try to obscure that, but the population is not confused. They change back and forth because they're looking for someone who's going to do something for them. And that has not happened in 50 years. Obama was the best, and he was not that good. So we can fix this entirely, but only by going externally and taking back control of our Constitution, a fine Constitution. And that's why I'm feeling very encouraged, because starting last cycle in 2014, the Supreme Court made a horrible series of precedents, declaring the president to be a king, declaring themselves to take control of all regulatory agencies. And the regulatory agencies now no longer try to protect the health of the people from the poisons that are generated by the corporations. And nobody is putting any controls on them now. And we deserve better than that. We deserve our Constitution. And when I've been passing out cards talking about this last year, I didn't have as good an understanding. And I was still getting 95% in Lake City and Live Oak and North Florida generally. Not really strongholds of Democrats. So I know that I can win if I can keep the Florida Democratic Party from taking my campaign apart like they did last year.
Okay.
I'm supposed to do those, but it's true.
Yeah. Okay. I think you've touched on this, but here's another opportunity. What national issue is most pressing to you, and what is the impact of that issue on our local community?
Well, I've spoken to the most pressing issue, which is restoring the Constitution. But we have a whole slew of collapses pending because we have overspent. Trump, by harping on tariffs, has driven every trading partner away from us, and he can't stop doing it. And same with the war in Iran. He can't stop himself. And we're going to be, and also we're picking up people who are gathering crops in California and throwing them into jail and torturing them. And that does not really bring out a lot of food, or it's not the country I want to live in. I want to change it. And I figure the best place to do that is here.
Okay, very good. Question 3 is, inequity continues to plague our region and also the nation. What factors are the most significant contributors, and how best do you think Congress can affect change?
Well, what has happened, I alluded to in the introduction, that our companies make nothing but money. They lobby Congress, and all the public, intrinsically public functions like healthcare get diverted into monopolies. And Musk took over the launch pads and throws up things which fall apart. And the other couple of, I can't remember the names of the guys in Amazon and Google. It's painful to say the names. And they all say, well, what could I invest? I have so much money, there's nothing to invest in except spaceships. And their spaceships fall over and they crash and they burn. And what China is putting up is 100 times better and much cheaper. When you do it, have the government doing it with people who wish to help the country, things work better. And we were with that country up until 66.
Okay. All right. Rhetoric and gridlock have only increased in our nation. What measures do you think would help move things forward?
Well, the gridlock is the response. I have good candidates who have good instincts. I mean to say that I know good candidates. And they say the Democratic National Committee made a mistake. No, they are working for their own $2 billion every 2 years. And that is not a path that intersects humanity or prosperity of the working class. The divergence of the working class, bottom 90% of the population versus the top 10%, they were gliding along for 40 years like this. And in the last 50 years, the gap between them has grown to be roughly $100 trillion, which is 3 or 4 times our national product. And our national product is way overestimated because we get 70% of our GDP is off of services. Like, we have a patent on this, so y'all are going to pay us for our patent. Well, nothing is being created. If you don't create things, you die. We have talent still. We have engineering talent, and we need to bring it out and give it something productive to do. And a way to do that is to reduce the interest that you charges. And I am proposing each state get a state bank. North Dakota is the only state with a state bank, and they survived the last crash in 2008 very well because they make loans and they don't just go out to make money because that's not in their charter. How do I get people who don't want to have a state bank to work with people? I would say that our federal check to your state will go to your state bank. Duh. Boy, that seems like a lot of fun.
All right. Terrific. All right. Well, my last question for you is, why should the business community support your campaign?
Well, I had a small business. It dried up because people stopped doing research, and they sent the research off to China. I had one very good project in China. It was a lot of fun, very complicated, because they were using complicated programs where they could build a sphere, and everybody knows how to do that, as a radome to cover the antenna, but they wanted an egg shape. So I designed and tested the egg shape, and at the same year that I had that project, they were building 100 international airports. And I suspect each one of them had a different problem to train their engineers in something that is not just on a piece of paper, but actually is being built. And yeah, Iran has a population of 90,000. They have about 20% more engineering graduates per year than the United States. And 70% of them are women. And we think of them as, abusing women and not letting them go out of the house or anything, but that's the Saudi Arabia approach. The Shia Muslims are all about working and taking care of each other. It's a strange thing to be talking about, but we've got to catch up with the people that we should never have gotten behind.
Okay.
There's no improvement about that. The system has been broken for 50 years.
Okay. All right. Well, those are the questions I have for you. Now you have the floor for a few more minutes. If there's anything else you wanted to touch upon, things that we should know about you.
Well, I have been running for 10 years. I think I mentioned I have a PhD in theoretical physics. This political theory is vastly less math and vastly more consequential as well. So my PhD was done under an Indian professor at University of Maryland. And in the Indian tradition, you get to 60 or 65. It's time to change your life and either go and have fun or try and do something significant. And when Obama was running, he came and showed up here in Gainesville, Florida, and my wife and I cried when she spoke, the wife. And it didn't take me but a year to figure out that we still had a lot of work to do. Because the same forces were grabbing him. But he worked very hard to get Medicare Affordable Care Act passed. But it was years after guy in Mississippi, when he was governor, and I can't say his last name, he ran against Trump in the second term, and he passed a much stronger health care bill than Obama passed for Massachusetts, much better bill. Every year, what you can pass is getting less and less as the grid gets more and more. So if we don't stop it now, there's not a whole lot of room left for people are not dying in the street. Talking about in the streets, when Ronald Reagan was president, I was 30 years old when he became president. I had never seen or heard of a person sleeping out in the street.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to that.
Okay, terrific. All right. Well, what we want to, yes, please.
The last point is that we're going to be in a deep hole because everything about our economy is collapsing. The way to get out of that hole is the same way that World War II got us out of the Great Depression, finally. We go and spend a whole lot of money giving people, we gave them the bombs in World War II, give them solar panels and batteries and let the whole world have internet and become educated through that. And we will be the world that Martin Luther King taught me about. So,
very good. Yeah, well, we will echo Tom's sentiments in what we can do here locally is make sure we get out, make our voice heard, get to know our candidates better, and be sure we show up to vote on for our primary either on Tuesday, August 18th in person or through the opportunities for mail-in and early voting. So please do
that opportunity.
Assuming that we will still have that opportunity. So far, so good.
I would very much enjoy an opportunity to speak to your people at some point.
Yes, well, we will be looking to do some in-person meet and greets in the fall. So you'll hear about it. All right, Tom, it was a pleasure talking to you today. Good luck out on the campaign trail, and we will see you out in the community. Bye now.